All right, y'all, it's been a couple years since we posted any sort of video on this page, on this channel here. And I know I said I was going to be posting videos on how to do things on bikes, whether it's a Raptor 660, a YFC 450, maybe a CRF 450, and so on. But we've got this bike in today. I don't really work on things for folks anymore, but occasionally I will take an odd end job here and there. But the issue this bike is having is when you go to start it, it turns, the starter's spinning, but it's not engaging, okay? Which most people assume the starter's bad, replace it, when in reality, the starter on these bikes should never fail. I've never had one fail personally. If you have, drop it down below. I'd love to hear about it. But what I did here is I took this side plate off. There's four bolts there. You take that off, pull the gear out. And the way this works is that little gear, this is welded together, of course, but that little gear will rest right here. And then the big gear goes up to your starter. And what happens with these Raptors, and I've had this happen 5 or 6 times probably, maybe more, is there's a little bearing in here, a little one-way bearing right by your flywheel. And when that fails, first you'll have chunks down in there, which is never good for a motor. But what'll happen is when you go to start the machine, it's not engaging because that one-way bearing should only spin one way. And when it's able to spin both ways, your starter does nothing. So I'm going to verify that my issue is indeed correct and that bearing shot by taking the rest of this cover off. What you're going to want to do is just go through, take off all of the bolts surrounding the case, of course. You've got your ground wire, all that fun stuff there. Make sure you've got something to catch the oil or you'll make a mess. But yeah, if you are having issues with your Raptor 660 turning, like starting, where the starter's making sound but nothing's happening, you know, your piston's not moving, this may be your issue. Now, I'm not guaranteeing that is your issue, but it could. So it's worth a shot to see, you know what I mean? And if you're having similar symptoms to what I'm saying, and like the starter is turning but nothing's engaging, check this, you know, pull off that little cover. It's super easy, pull it off, and then just see, is that spinning both ways? Because if that's spinning both ways, it's obviously not going to engage anything down here to get your piston to move. So we're going to take this apart, see what happens. Quick side note before we get this case taken off, this cover, I went ahead and dropped my skid plate just for the simple fact that I don't want to coat it in oil and have to clean up the mess later. And if you're going to do that, you're going to need a 5mm Allen head wrench. You're going to have 2 screws here, 2 in the back, and then 2 in the front. They sit right about there, here, and then in the back. They look just like those guys there. So yeah, go ahead and take that off. That way when you take that cover off, that case cover, oil can just drop straight down into your little pan there. And then worst case, you just have to wipe up the side there. But yeah, now that we've got that off, I'm gonna go ahead and start taking off all of these 8mm screws, or bolts, I should say, that are wrapped all the way around. Get it off. I will probably hurry and get the machine to top dead center before I do that. It's not that big of a deal if I don't, but I like to do that just because it's what I do. It's the way I do things. But yeah, go ahead and take that cover off, and then let's see how that bearing looks in there. All right, so once you have taken the case cover off, there's a total of 9 bolts that hold that on, 8mm bolts. You see this. Now, I've already checked it. I don't see any chunks, which that's a good sign. I mean, you never want to see chunks up in there, which is pretty surprising, which tells me, I mean, it failed, but the guy didn't continue to mess with it or ride it or anything of that nature. So we're left with this, and that one-way bearing is sitting back in here. It's on the back side of the flywheel, and as you can see, this is spinning both ways, which does nothing. I mean, it's gotta lock one way and spin the other way. That way, once the starter turns over, it actually gets your motor to spin and start. So what I'm gonna do, and what you're going to need to do, is you need to have a flywheel puller for a Raptor. They're pretty cheap. I could probably put a link to one down below if you don't have one. But yeah, you'll need a flywheel puller, or I know a lot of guys out there have ways of doing it without a flywheel puller, but me, I have one. I'm going to do it the easy way. But if you're looking for one of those videos, I'm sure you can find some here on YouTube. Yeah, we're going to go ahead and pull the flywheel, and then we'll see that bearing in the back there. And then I can show you guys how to take that off of the flywheel and pretty much show you what failed. If this one has chunks missing from it, or you can visibly see the damage, I'll show you guys. But yeah, give me 1 second here. All right, so we went ahead and took the flywheel off. This is what your flywheel cover, or puller, not my bad, flywheel puller is going to look like. The one that I have This main bolt right here that actually pushes up against the crank to pull the flywheel off is a 7/8 socket, and then these 3 bolts I believe are 13 mil. But what happens is you pull that off, and then this is sitting behind it. Okay, that I would make sure to pull off the little chuck here, that way you don't lose it. Just put it where you won't lose it. And then here on your flywheel, you flip this guy over. Trying to do this one-handed, it's a little difficult, but you'll see back here, this is where that little bearing sits. So it's hard to get it to spin when there's nothing in it, okay? But when you go ahead and pull this guy off, which I will do right now, go ahead and put it like that. You see how it spins both ways? And then sometimes it's getting caught. So it's trying to work, but it's not working. Also, another side note, go ahead and put that back on. That way you do not lose it or forget about it. But okay, once you get to this point, what you're gonna wanna do, I'm not sure what size these are. I believe they're 5 mil. But I'm gonna go ahead and take these 6 bolts off, pull this off, order a new one, and then go in reverse. All you're gonna do is do exactly what we just did, but backwards. And then they do not have gasket covers for these. I don't believe they do. Actually, I'm wrong. They do. I'm thinking of a different bike. Don't listen to me. But yeah, you'll go ahead and want to get a gasket cover for both the main cover here and then that little cover that covers the starter. Get a new one-way bearing, which I will put the link to everything I used down below. The only tools I've needed so far is a mallet. We needed a wrench with a couple sockets, I believe an 8 mil, 7/8, and a 19. And then a 5 mil end wrench. A little screwdriver just to take off the little cover for the front of the case, just to get to the bolt for the flywheel. Flashlight and an impact. That's it. So like I said, you're gonna go in reverse, put it all back together. But yeah, hope you guys enjoyed this video. Nothing too special. Quick little easy garage video. Hopefully the video is only like 5 minutes long. Get you straight to the point. I'm not trying to like waste anybody's time. And if you like the video, please like it, give me a comment, something. Hit that subscribe button, and I'll try to start posting more videos of bikes like this.